that the colonial master was very clever in a devilish way. So that in many ways you have African governments where you have black faces as heads of state. But the industries are still controlled from elsewhere.
Just hold on, my brother. Hope you get something on that 3rd second which Professor PLO LUMUMBA said the truth. And this is the direct truth that Africans, we need to tell each other. So without wasting the time, I want you and I to watch this video when Professor PLO LUMUMBA explaining us what we don't know on this colonial system.
That is the nature of the colonial, but in my own view, we cannot as Africans keep on lamenting, because the problem with us Africans also is that we are prisoners of sorrows and lamentation. So we say, oh, God, let's not allow God to enter into these things which we can do ourselves. God is very busy with very serious issues upstairs. He has given us minds and hearts, and we had better use them, because the divine instruction is to go and subdue the world. On our part, we have allowed the world to subdue us. Then we are complaining, God, you know, and Pastor, you are here. There are certain things that can only be solved by hard work and logic, and yet we think they can be solved by prayer and fasting. That will not happen. So my own view is, we must begin to do things for ourselves. If the land needs to be worked, we must work the land. And we cannot continue to work the land the way Abraham used to work the land with the plows. We've got to mechanize. If, as people say, if Africa did not benefit from the first industrial revolution, we must benefit from the fourth industrial revolution. And you know, in these matters, these very serious matters, nobody invites you. You invite yourself to the dinner table. And you get crushed the dinner table. So that you are noticed. You know, right now, many Africans, and I say this because people are on top of the dinner table eating silent steak and caviar, and we are under the table fighting over crumbs. This is what is happening. When you see black on black violence, it is essentially, what are we fighting for? Crumbs. Crumbs. The real meal is on the table. That is where we should be. That is where the good. But you see the problem, when you are under the table, you cannot see what is on the table. You only see the bottom of the table. And therefore, the only thing you can see are the crumbs that have dropped. And I'm suggesting to us, particularly we in the political class, deliberate efforts must be made. I know that in many African countries, we suffered from certain historical advantages by dint of skewed systems of governance, particularly in the economic arena. Here in South Africa, you know that, and even the white people know and appreciate that going forward, it is completely untenable that a small population should have the majority of the land. They know. How then do you do it? Is it for a foreigner to come here and prescribe the solution? No, that would be arrogance. But it's for a foreigner to begin to persuade those who are in the eye of the storm that the sooner you are able to relinquish some of this land in an orderly and in a programmatic manner so that you do not disrupt commerce, the safer you are. Because let me tell you, a hungry and a poor man has no morals to tie him down. He cannot be asked to be orderly. Poverty makes him disorderly. Poverty makes him angry, and anger has no logic. Anger doesn't know what is on its path. If I have not eaten for 10 days and I see you holding cake and ale on 2 hands, oh, I will take them. I will take them, even if it includes cutting your hand. I will take them. So in order to ensure that your hands are safe, you must invite me and say, there is cake here. Let us begin to share. But when one is hungry for a long time, you also don't give him a very large dose of food very quickly. You begin slowly, and you educate him. And I believe that that is what we must do in order to solve our problems. We were told by Ray Piri, look, listen, and desire. Let us look, let us listen, and desire to do the right thing for the general good. The last thing is, the last question, what kind of an economic system? When we were students at the university, and normally when you are students at the university, there is a sense in which, number one, you are a fire-breathing pseudo-revolutionary. First of all, you think that you have monopoly of knowledge and wisdom. And all of us suffer from what I call intellectual adolescence. And intellectual adolescence is fed very effectively by the slogans of Marxism, Leninism. Workers of the world, unite. You have nothing to lose but your chains. We said all those. And I remember when we were university students, we said that the human development has always been from primitive accumulation through to capitalism, through to socialism, and through to communism, where the state withers. And we live in Shangri-La, El Dorado, the land of gold. You and me know that that will not happen. You and me know that the real world is about cutthroat competition. You and me know that each society must have its own unique ways of doing things. You and me know that there is no one size fits all for all societies. You and me know that there are certain standards, certain things, irreducible minimums. One of them is that when we give people, men and women, opportunity to serve us, we want them to serve us. We want them to preside over our resources so that we have food on the table. We want them to serve us so that when we are sick, we have facilities where we can go in an affordable manner. We want them to use our taxes so that we can take our children to school and good quality education where we are taught the right thing. I remember yet another musician who was Fela Kuti of Nigeria who used to say, teacher, don't teach us nonsense. So we want schools where we are not taught nonsense, where we are not told that David Livingstone discovered the Mosi Otunya Falls. No, he was the first Scotsman to see the Mosi Otunya. There were people there who lived with them. In other words, we are saying each society, and the beauty of Africa now, even here in South Africa, you will always have problems. Pastor, let me tell you a short story as I answer this question. I listened to a sermon, and in this sermon, the story is told of this unsettled soul. This unsettled soul was moving from church to church, looking for the perfect church. And he went to many churches until he met a pastor who told him, I'm told you are looking for the perfect church. You can never find it because you yourself are so imperfect that whenever you enter into any church, it becomes imperfect. And the moral of my story is that each society has its own problems, and civilization, in my view, means the ability to work within your society with its strengths and weaknesses is in a manner that is for the general good.
So, brothers and sisters, hope you watched the full video from Professor PLO LUMUMBA, and now I understand what these brothers from Sahel region, I'm speaking about the president of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore, from Mali, Assimi Goita, and Niger, Abdurrahman Chian, what they are doing is what we need to see, and by doing that, it means that they know the system of these colonial masters working. So what they're doing is what we need as African to know, that this system is not benefiting Africans, and hope this we all know, but we need people who will do this for the benefit of black people. So salute to this president, not only them, but we see also in Rwanda and Uganda also their president or their leaders, they are doing much to make the benefits for their citizens first. So brothers and sisters, we all know that Africa, we have a very different kinds of resources, but end of the day we are not benefiting from what we have in our countries or in our soil. This because, as what Professor PLO LUMUMBA said at the beginning of this video, we see black leaders in our system, but end of the day this is not what those leaders, they are not there to stand from our benefits. He said that the system is controlled from the Western countries. So the time is now. And Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger show us the way that Africa, we need to pass this way to the Africa that we want. You know, Africa, we have these agendas of making Africa great again, or the agendas to regreen this continent of Africa. But we can't succeed if we are not knowing the real system that we are working for. So sometimes we can say we must change leaders, but the problem is in car. We might change the drivers as we can, but the problem is not driver. The problem is the system. I mean, the problem is a car. So let us firstly destroy the system and make it benefits for the African people. So then we can choose the leaders to come who will lead this system in direct way. So I don't have much, as I said before, on this. Please let me also know your thought in the comments section, because the aim is to share this and taking an action. So time for the action is now. Brothers and sisters, kings and queens, sons and daughters in the continent and those who are in diaspora, this is Facts About Africa, the African channel where share thoughts and changing the narrative of Mother Africa. Let us meet on the next episode.